is going to be an editing video to show you basically the workflow of using the presets that I have available and then flipping this over into Photoshop in order to put the fall colors actions to it. So this is the original image straight out of camera, and if I go over to my left here, these are the 4 preset packs that I have available. I'm going to use the Portrait Essentials on this one. So starting with the white balance, step 1, click on daylight, and then I'm going to come down and look at the different presets on this. If I just scroll over it, it changes it as I go. I kind of like Portrait 1 pop. It kind of adds a bit more contrast to this photo because it was fairly bright. And there are additional effects you can add using the presets. So there's a slight vignette, removing the vignette, or a lens correction on or off. And so anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. And just personal preference, I'm going to bump up the temperature just a little bit based on the rest of the images that I had to edit. And I mean, we can go through, normally I do a little bit of brushing on their faces and that, but I'll use a radial filter, and I'm just gonna center it on them. And the reason I'm doing it is so that I can take down the exposure of everything around them and drop the shadows a little bit as well. Just again, just creating a bit more contrast and allowing a little bit more focus to be placed on them. So there's other things that we can do using the little brushes, the local brushes, to do skin retouching and that right in Lightroom. But I'm going to leave it at that. So that is the Portrait Essentials 1 Pop preset with very little tweaking to it. Then we're going to go to Edit In. So right click, Edit In, Adobe Photoshop. And we're going to bring this into Photoshop. And once it's in Photoshop for us, I'll go through how we can use the fall colors actions. So here it is loaded up into Photoshop. My actions I've got over here with my brushes and everything. So once I've got my actions tab opened, the fall colors, you can expand it. And your first one, you just click on the fall colors and hit play. So it tells you adjust the opacity of the layer to suit your taste. It says you may also reduce the effect on specific areas by using the layer mask. So the white rectangle beside the fall colors layer. So it says stop. So you can see it has changed the greens in the image to more fall colors in the grass, but it's had an kind of an unintended effect on the skin colors. So overall, if we wanted to tone down the effect, we would just click on this layer, the fall colors layer, and on the right here in the layers, just reduce the opacity of this layer. So you can see if I go all the way to the left, it takes it away. As I increase the opacity, it'll start to add the effect in. So depending on how strong you want it, let's leave it about there. So now if we want to remove the effect on, say, their skin color or that sort of thing, you can use the layer mask. So this white rectangle is a layer mask. And if we use a brush, so B for brush, and we take a black brush, so black is the foreground color, and we paint this on, you'll see it removes the effect entirely from wherever you paint. So I'm going to just back up here for a second and do this a little bit more subtly so that it doesn't look so abrupt. So what I like to do is with a soft brush, take the flow and drop the flow of the brush down to 7, 8, 9%, somewhere in that range. And this will allow you to brush it on and layer on your brush strokes. So it won't take it entirely off on the first brush stroke. And this will allow you to kind of tone down the effect on skin tones if it's too much, but it'll still allow you to blend the effect in with the background and the coloring and everything, because they would still have some of that, you know, fall glow to them. If we took this in the heart of fall. So if I back out there, now we can see down here on the right in the layers where I've painted, you can kind of see their outline as I've put the brush strokes on. So if I disable that layer mask, you can see how red they are. Enable the layer mask, so it has just toned it down enough that they blend nicely with the new fall colors kind of background. So that is using the Portrait Essentials Pop 1 preset in Lightroom, followed up by the fall colors action in Photoshop. Now, if I was going to export this to Facebook for a client or my website, my page, I would use the Facebook action and simply click on the vertical and play. And that resizes the image and gets it ready for export. And sharpens it for Facebook. So when you zoom in, you can see how sharp they are in the image compared to, say, come back here and I'll do this. So if we give just a quick example of this is before I run the Facebook action where it sharpens it for Facebook and resizes it. And then when I apply it, you can zoom in and see how sharp they are in the image. So if you go too far zooming in here, it'll start to get pixelated because it has resized it for Facebook and reduced the size for that. So anyways, that's how I apply these actions and presets. Check out the shop for the 4 different types of presets I have available and the Photoshop actions.